Hi, I'm Sarah, and I am here at Olathe Health with Aaron and Amy, who are with the Outpatient Pediatric Therapy, and we are here talking about toys. And it's already October, and so I'm already thinking about my kids' Christmas list. They are definitely thinking about it. So as we prepare and start thinking about what toys not only do our kids want, but maybe what they need for developmentally for this age. I know you have some suggestions here for us to put on our list, so can you walk us through?
Yes. Well, first of all, I always think about how we've all experienced, we get a kid a really great toy, or our kids get really great toys, and they open it up and they look at it for a second, and then they'd rather have the box, right, or the paper, or the tissue paper, or whatever. So I'm all about like the basic things that we all probably played with as kids. And so I brought a lot of fun things with me today. A lot of them seem to start with B, so it'll make your Christmas list really easy. If you go to the store, buy something that starts with a B. The first thing I love is blocks. Blocks for any ages. You can have these big, soft blocks that you can stack up on the floor, and you can choose colors. So for speech therapy, that's really important to me, because I want to offer choices and vocabulary in everything that I'm doing. There's, of course, a ton of different kind of blocks. You can get the alphabet blocks that we all probably had as kids. These were my own children's blocks, which are great. Again, as a speech therapist, I love them because they've got our letter and our object inside, and you can talk about those. Again, you can stack them up. You can knock them down. You can choose which color you want. You can talk about what things are inside of them. So they're very interactive. One of our other things that I love are bean bags, another B, blocks and bean bags. Bean bags are great because, again, you can choose, you're making choices with colors. They're very sensory motivating. As Amy could talk a little bit more about sensory. You can stack your blocks up really tall if you want. I'm going to try not to knock too many things down. And you can work on some gross and fine motor skills by knocking things down. And then they have to go over and pick it up. So we're involving some physical movement there, which I try to do with all of the kids that I work with in our clinic. Another thing that, of course, is another B that I wouldn't be able to live without are bubbles. Every person in their home should have bubbles. If you don't want your bubbles to be messy, then you can get the spill-proof top. There are bigger ones too, like big bubble containers, so if you don't want to go through these near as fast, you can get those too. That's in our clinic right now, and I couldn't bring it down here to be used because it's being used by a current patient. So again, choices. But what's more fun is that you can involve a lot of core vocabulary, which was really important as your kids develop, that you want to develop that vocabulary. You can blow the bubbles up, you can blow them down, you can blow big bubbles, you can blow small bubbles. And then we're bringing in all the fine and gross motor things too. They're going to move around, they're going to pop the bubbles, more vocabulary again. And then even if you do hand the bubble wand to your child, which again, you might want to do the spill-proof one, or you're going to have a lot of soap on your carpet, is that you're working on that oral motor movement. A lot of kids need to work on that blowing and those oral motor shapes for speech and language. And bubbles are just fun. I like bubbles and I'm a grown-up. So that's another B. Probably one of the other most important things I think about toys is cause and effect. You're going to want that communication interaction with your kids. And that's really, really important. And so, you know, if you've got toys that you have to control back, and they have to tell you, ready, set, go, and then you make the toy go. Same thing with bubbles, are also cause and effect. But even noise makers, light up toys, which again, I don't have all my fun light up toys because our fun patients are playing with those today. Cause and effect things like a light up ball. There's our other B too. I like balls of all sorts, shapes and sizes, because again, that's fine motor, gross motor, and then cooperative play with a parent. So you can kick it, you can throw it, you can roll it, you can throw it up high, you can throw it down low, all of those fun things.
And then earlier, I liked how you said with the cause and effect, waiting until they tell you something.
Yeah, because if they know this ball's going to pop out, and I'll try not to hit anyone, and I say, ready, set, go, and that ball goes flying, then when I have another one, I'm going to wait until they say something, ready, set, and they can smile, they can throw their hands up in the air, they might just go, oh, or whatever, and then you make it pop. So they're learning that cause and effect and that importance in language for them, that they're going to get something in return for what they're communicating to us. The last thing I guess I'll talk about, because I could talk about this all day, well, two last things. Stackables. are great because you can stack them up high, you can stack them down low, you can put them on the floor, you can put them on the back of the couch. I love to hide things inside my stackables because they're gonna go find it and we'll be like, ooh, the boy is under. Oh, he's under. Now he's on top. Now he's behind, he's hiding. So you've got pronouns, you've got prepositions, you've got everything you ever want. Colors, you can talk about what he's wearing, what color his hair is. And then again, if you're hiding them around the room or on the floor and they're picking them up, they're doing the physical and occupational therapy things I try to incorporate to the gross motor movement and the fine motor movements. Lastly, if I didn't talk about my last B, I wouldn't be a good speech therapist, is books. All books are great. Every kid should have books, 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 books. But what's more fun if you can't get your kids super engaged in books, because sometimes they're not, my own personal kids were not that engaged in books, is bring some things in that go with it. This is about a giraffe who can't dance, and all of his friends were dancers, and he wasn't. So bring in some little guys. Get some little animals. They're super great. Make sure they're big enough that you don't have your kid choke. I don't want kids choking. But then you can also bring in a puzzle, too, that goes with it. You can talk about how this giraffe was dancing, or he wasn't able to dance. He was sad. He went and hid behind the book. So again, you're just incorporating language into everything you do, and as well as gross and fine motor skills.
We've had some great posts on the blog about ways to incorporate books of, you know, maybe a cooking project that goes along with the book, or an outing in Kansas City, like read the book and then go do something that's, you know, go to Union Station for the trains and read a book about trains.
It makes it so much more meaningful. And literacy is important because we have to read all of our lives. I know we tell our kids that you're gonna have to use this someday again. I promise you, you will. And what I love about all these toys is I really can use these across age ranges. All of these are in my bag of tricks, and I see little kids up to 7 or 8 year olds that still love to play with the big blocks or the bubbles. And again,
I know in my house I have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old. But they're wooden blocks that are just plain wood. They do all sorts, monster truck, arenas, you know, houses, princess houses, like anything with
it
those
turns into
blocks.
that imaginative play that we really want for our kids.
And it was a simple and you know, cost easy.
Didn't cost very much. So go with the bees for Christmas this year.
Right. I like that. So Amy's going to talk a little bit about, I know a lot of the toys that Erin mentioned require a lot of parent interaction. And I think as parents we turn to electronics more often, kind of as a babysitter. You need to, you know, go to the bathroom or make dinner, and you need something to occupy them. So I know you have some options that might work for.
As a pediatric occupational therapist, I think a lot of the things that I focus on to start with would be the fine motor. And some things, before I move away from this area, I just want to say I do borrow this from Erin, and I love it. It's that grip strength, you know, with the balls. So she's the one that has this toy, but I do take it sometimes and try to strengthen that grip strength to start with for handwriting. Another thing that I like to do is kind of emphasize these 3 fingers, because that's what we're working towards with handwriting. And this particular toy, I do a lot of tweezer work, but this particular toy, really, you have to use the 3 fingers. And I've noticed there's different types of kids. Some of them like all the colors to be the same in these little test tubes, and some of them like to be different. And depending on the kid, sometimes I have them kind of reach in and take this out and push it in, and it just uses different types of grip and pinch strength. So I love that toy there. I had mentioned earlier that I have a lot of like toys like this. This is helping with that shoulder motion. I get, you know, shaving cream. We're doing it on the mirror, some different types of paint and media. My coworkers just love it. They just love me for that. No, I'm just kidding. And I clean up after myself, which I'm sure you all do at home.
I know you said the tweezer and the different hand strength is good for handwriting.
Correct.
So maybe starting at age 3.
I mean, it just kind of depends on the kid, but this was the toy that I thought 3 would be pretty reasonable to start that pinch, but I wouldn't be upset if, you know, your kiddo couldn't use that 3 point by any means, and that's why sometimes in the clinic I have easier tweezers and I get those out and I use that toy. So another thing, you know, Erin had talked about simple toys is, you know, my son has made this in Boy Scouts. He doesn't know I took it, but it's been going for a while. So I was talking about just yard games. Like, these are washers, and we do different things with kids to kind of strengthen their core at the same time that we're using that fine motor and hand-eye coordination. So I have kids, you know, I call it tall kneeling. They stand on their knee, and they're trying to just kind of throw it up and get it in there. And, you know, you think of the beanbag toss we have at home and those types of things. I did talk a little bit about, or I would like to talk a little bit about, just I use these things as rewards, which you may have seen, just the kinetic sand. And I have, little cookie cutter shapes there, and then this popsicle stick for the kids to dig that sand out of the container. We work on keeping the stuff in the container in the clinic. It's, kind of a goal. The other thing I have is just this play dirt, and the kids are scooping and kind of turning their hand and making things, and also, once again, the cookie cutters. And some kiddos don't like to touch the dirt as much, or don't like to touch the sand as much. So for some kids it's a reward, and for some kids it's a challenge. So we take it as it is. And then I really had mentioned that I just like games, like any type of board games. As far as keeping your kids off electronics, I know that's what I do with my kids who are, a little bit older, but so here's, we have perfection, and this, to me, it's a bit of a puzzle, but also we won't do the noise, but you guys, you may remember that you turn that crank, so that's a fine motor challenge, and then the whole hand-eye coordination and visual planning of getting those shapes in there. And then back to, some of the core work that we had done. I think we had talked about, even at home, maybe we talked about that tall kneeling, or just laying on your tummy to do some sort of a game. So this is one game that you could play on your tummy, and you're just kind of doing your aim, and it's letter recognition. So here's a capital T. So I would, go fish this because I have all lowercase here, but it's really fun to see the kids and starting to do letter recognition or working on that. And then just towards the end, here's another big puzzle with letters that you could do on your tummy if you wanted to do that at home. When we're talking about maybe getting off electronics during the winter and that kind of thing. Maybe, you could just be mindful of what's challenging your kid physically when we don't have a gym to go run in all the time. Or maybe we do, I don't know.
So you're talking about core strength, which I mean, we all discuss for ourselves.
Right.
But why is it important for kids to focus on that?
I think as an OT, the way I look at it is my goals are for them to be successful, like to sit at a desk and have adequate core strength to sit at a desk to do their handwriting and their schoolwork. And to be looking at the board and kind of visually scanning and then going down to their paper. I know physical therapy that they work in the clinic with kiddos, and you want to ride your bike, all those play activities, the playground equipment, those types of things. So as far as core strength, some kiddos need a little bit more strengthening, and maybe all of them do because of what we have to play with today and some of the limited play time. So we just want to keep thinking about keeping them moving and that kind of thing. And one thing I didn't talk about, I'm sorry, but that we do a lot in OT and that we focus on and think about is bilateral integration, which is keeping both of your hands together. So Erin, do you want to? I wanted to do this toy. I just love this little. So just this concept, I think this toy really, there, of keeping it, keeping your arms together, and then, see, I always have to untwist.
I stopped.
It always goes like this, doesn't it? So just kind of opening and closing and coordinating your arms. I think that kind of leads to all those skills like bike riding, and I think there are studies that have been done that correlate that bilateral coordination in the future to reading skills. So that's
what is this called if a parent wants to?
I don't know, because I call it a Zoom ball, so I apologize for that.
We'll find it and we will link it to the bottom of this video.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and did I interrupt you?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I was going to say, expanding on what you said earlier as far as the way we play today. So looking at, from toddlers to teenagers.
Yeah.
Have you seen more challenges in your clinics because of the way we play?
I don't know if I could nail it down to that. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know that there are studies and there've been articles and that kind of thing that there's just less opportunity for kids to get out there. And as a parent myself, that I grew up a certain way, and I know that I do feel like I have to keep a better eye on my kids and not just let them go and and we do have more electronics and things that we didn't have when I was growing up. So I don't know if we're seeing more kids because of that personally, but I don't know the answer to that.
So for parents,
you're
you're talking about lots of different kinds of therapies. When would be an appropriate time for a parent to, if they're noticing some concerns, what should they do?
I think we had talked earlier a little bit about the developmental milestones, and when you go in and visit your pediatrician, there's gross motor, there's fine motor, there's language, and it sounds like those screenings are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Thorough.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
so I
true.
think with your pediatrician, you're able to kind of nail down whether there are things that you want to work on, and then maybe
If a
look for
parent
some
feels like
intervention.
their kiddo isn't communicating like they want, they're not eating the right foods, or maybe they're defensive to foods, not communicating like their sibling does or their peers, or just getting really frustrated when they're trying to communicate, that's like a pretty good indicator that you might want to talk to your physician and say, hey, this doesn't seem right to me, and then they can make an appropriate referral.
And so, talk to me about, if a parent just isn't sure, and they don't want to, ring the alarm bells, or, don't want even maybe a label or something to be
Sure.
wrong.
Understandable.
Do you see
Even
kids
if-
and immediately
yes.
treat them, or do you sometimes just do some
We have
parent-
both.
Okay.
We've gotten referrals on itty bitty kids, and they come in, and the parents are being super proactive, and we always encourage that.
Yeah.
But there may be some simple things that you can do at home, and we might do just a few sessions to do a lot of parent education, which we involve a lot of parent education in all of our pediatric patients. But because we can't do it in one session, we need the parents to help out at home too. So definitely, come in, and if it's an eval only, and then you leave, and you feel good about knowing that your kid really is on the right track, that's fine too. So there's no harm in finding out that everything's okay.
Yeah. Well, this is a great list. I assume we can find all of these.
I think you can find just
Locally
about
or
anything in a discount store near you.
Maybe even a garage sale.
Yeah, garage
I know.
sales are great. Amazon's great.
I got my peekaboo
Yes.
blocks at a consignment sale.
Yeah,
Actually, so yep.
yes. Or if you have a mom like my mother who kept all my toys when I was little, and now I have them in my house. Some of these are actually my toys. Or maybe not some of these, but I have my toys from when I was little.
I was
So.
thinking like the twist knob you don't see on toys
Yeah.
today, but all the ones I have are from the
I
80s.
just, like I said earlier, we all survived without having electronics when we had to set a doctor's appointments or mom was making dinner. There's things like coloring books and books and other things like that. There's a time and a place for electronics, because bottom line is the kids have to use electronics in school, so they might as well learn how to use them. I just think there's a big push to make sure kids are playing and not just using screen time, because that's just not engaging anything social for them. So.
Great, thank you so much. I know we'll go home and make our Christmas list, and if you have any trouble finding any of the toys that you saw here, message us and we can help you find out where to get those. So thank you so much.
Thank you.